finish the year strong and start the new year even stronger. It's my privilege to introduce to you my colleague and good friend, Terry Murphy, the president of Terry Murphy Communications and the CIO of U.S. Learning, to help us through this webinar and through these important topics. Terry, welcome aboard.
Thank you, John, and hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. As you know, I'm co-hosting today's session with John, and we want to welcome everyone to this segment of Finish the Year Strong and Start the New Year Even Stronger. This is a terrific topic as we end 2014 and provide visions to explode production in 2015. Now, to give you a brief overview, today's panel will share how they've been successful in building momentum and handling accountability, how best to coach and develop agent business plans, and how to build a company culture from the inside out. Now, we're really looking forward to their insights. I'd like to give our thanks to RISMedia and John Featherston for providing this series and for his enormous personal and professional contribution to our industry. And special thanks to our sponsor today, Bob Brown, who's with the Bank of America Home Loans, a great friend to our industry, and we'll hear from Mr. Brown in just a few minutes here. I'd like to give you kind of a quick overview so we can get to this great information. We've got a stellar panel of industry leaders this afternoon, and I'll be going into more detail into their individual introductions during the call. But here is just kind of a brief overview, because we're excited to include Dan Forsman. He's the president and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services from Metro Atlanta. Jeff Sposito, he's the president and CEO of J. Rockcliffe Realtors, and he hails from sunny Danville, California. And from my former hometown in Barrington, Illinois, Paul Wells, broker-owner of RE/MAX of Barrington, and Sandra Sanders, the founder and broker and owner of RE/MAX Estate Properties from Palos Verdes, California. Now, just a few housekeeping notes for the call. The panelists will each present for about 5 to 7 minutes today, and they're going to have about 4 questions to give us some responses, so we want to definitely take great notes, and we welcome those questions. Now, feel free to type them into the question council, and then we'll monitor them during the call and try to answer them as we have time. So is Mr. Brown available for us to give us a few points?
I am.
Excellent.
You ready?
We are so ready for you. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks so much, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the final webinar of the year. The topic, Finish the Year Strong and Start the New Year Even Stronger, is actually one that's very near and dear to my heart, and one that I and my team at Bank of America are focusing on as we approach the ringing in of the new year. 2014, I think we would all agree, has been somewhat of a year of transition, but it's back to a place where most of us are most comfortable in our element, and that's working with people who are buying homes. So not unlike yourselves, the bank was prepared for this shift back to a more normal market, adapting internal processes and structures to ensure our focus and resources on the business of you and your clients, which is always our top priority. 2, we've also worked to take a lead role in educating our business partners on expectations that are tied to the new regulatory environment. Now, as a result, and as we ring out the old and ring in the new, we've made great strides in our customer satisfaction, having recently ranked very high in a significant national study, and our closing times are better than the industry norms and getting even better by the day. And these were all areas of focus for us as we move from 2013 to 2014. Now, as we approach the end of the year and plan for the coming year, we believe that we're in a great place to be your partner, to serve your clients' financing needs, and to help finish the year strong and start the new year even stronger. So not having a crystal ball, we all know that the markets might and probably will continue to fluctuate, and we may see a rise in interest rates as the economy continues to improve. But it's always the case, the one constant is that there is no constant. There are bound to be things that none of us have anticipated. But what we do know for sure is that people want to buy homes, and we're ready and waiting to work with you to make that happen. So without further ado, on to the distinguished panel of experts, and thank you all very much, and let's have a great webinar.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brown. That's so great of you to give us your comments. Well, you know, let's just jump right into it. Our first panelist is Dan Forsman. Now, Dan is the president and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Georgia Properties. That was formerly a Prudential company, and it is the market leader in Metro Atlanta. He is named the Broker of the Year for the entire Berkshire Hathaway Home Services network. That's 1,600 offices, and get this, 88,000 associates. And he has received the BHHS Gibraltar Circle Award every year, get this, since 1992 for the top performing companies in the United States. So this year, Dan's going to be recognized again as the most admired CEO in residential real estate by the Atlanta Business Chronicle. So Dan, we've got some questions for you. And it starts off with, what new brand, with this brand new brand, because you had this transition, how did recruiting go for year one?
Well, it's exactly, Terry and John, 1 year to the day that we converted to the Berkshire Hathaway brand in Atlanta, Georgia, down at the High Museum. We started the year, we were a little anxious after being Prudential for so long and keeping our company together because we had sold and then we announced we were converting in the fourth quarter, and we picked December because we felt like that was the ebb of all pending and closing activity, December 10th for the whole year, and as it turned out, it was a pretty good date last year. Recruiting this year has been amazing. Our company, through the end of October, I think we had a net gain of agents of like 167, and end of November. By the end of the year, we will have grown the business by 200 agents. So we're really excited about it. Momentum's building in the market. It's interesting, the more things change, the more they remain the same. People do business with people, and I got the finest brokers, I think, in the business, so it makes it, easy to continue to tell a great story.
Well, we know that you've had some specific initiatives that you've kind of endorsed, and one of them was the automated valuation models. Why did you choose that particular for your, what you call your surge activity, with so many other things your agents could talk to the consumer about?
Sure. One of the themes of our call today were 4 topics, and one of the things we do every year is we do try to finish strong. I mean, it gets to football. You see the guys in the stadiums put the 4 fingers up. Fourth quarter, they want to finish well, as do we. So this year, what we did is we had Tom Ferry come in October and talk to our whole company. 800 of our agents showed up, and we talked business plans, marketing, and some strategy and tactics to go forward in the following year. That was at the beginning of October. We chose, with all the evolution and the websites out there, we put a new tool on our website, which is basically just an AVM, like a Zestimate or any other, automated valuation model. But what we did is we got the whole company together, and over a period of 5 days, we pulled out specific activities. We trained them on those activities, and actually on the next slide, you can see the activities that we did, Terry. You could click onto that. And this was a phenomenal thing. Every morning, the agents in the company would wake up and they'd get an announce my move or an email, and it would give them their daily activity branded to them. Technology enables us to do that. And so for 5 days, starting on a Friday, going through the following Thursday, agents would send an e-campaign card to their database. So they're using all of our tools. The hardest thing to do with agents is to keep them engaged in the fourth quarter. Many of them just decide it's, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, let's quit working. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to finish strong and carry some momentum into January. And so we got all our agents to do that. Day 2, we encouraged them to send a text or a selfie driving consumers back to their individual website. They all have their own websites, and the selfie is, of course, the video of themselves. And selfies are the rage of the day. Consumers respond to those in a huge way. 85% of consumers, Terry, respond to an email in a positive way if it relates to the valuation of their home. They want to know what it is. We sent postcards. We did the Facebook share or ad boost. We stayed focused on all those things. We used our agent advisor that we get from RISMedia. We purposed and sent that out, and we layered on top of that an AVM announcement, and then finally we did the call or the pop-by with 5 people. And what came out of that, Terry, is in the week that we did it, we had 40,000 consumers. I was astounded by this. I like to get confused by the facts, but we had 40,000 people enter their address on our website or their individual agents' websites to determine their valuation. And that's why we chose that one in specific.
That's amazing. That is truly amazing.
So, you know, the agents, they created a lot of activity, a lot of conversations with sellers. I think it laid the seeds for sales. We've been seeing sales run at about 45 to 50 a day through November, which shocked me. I did not expect that in pendings. And through the 1st of December, we were in 50s, and every day except for today, we dropped to like 28. But it created activity, and I think we're positioned well to begin the new year.
Dan, this is John.
Yes, sir.
In listening to what you have done in this last quarter, it seems like there's been a coherent strategy within the organization to, one, keep your agents engaged, keep them engaged with their customer base, their prospect base. The selfie video, love that idea. The fact that, again, 85% of the consumers respond positively to information regarding their home valuation, bringing that from your agent to their customer base. That's fantastic. The 40,000 consumers, what was the time frame again for those 40,000 responding to your agents?
It occurred over 5 business days, 7 actual days in the week. For the month, we logged just over 100,000. The week after we did this, we had 27,000 people log in to find out there was a residual to this, John. So, you know, it was probably the best thing I've ever seen happen in my whole time I've been in real estate, where you got the whole herd of agents. And, you know, it's hard to get independent contractors to all do one thing together, but we pulled it off. And I think the key was great communication, make it simple, make it meaningful, and make it personal. And they all did their activities, and they were richly rewarded with, you know, lots of good activity and leads that they otherwise wouldn't have had. And we did it right before Halloween. And so they got this whole bundle of activity that they came into the office in November that they're now still working their business and following up with leads.
That's what's amazing, John, is that the accountability was so orchestrated that it helped make sure that everybody was involved and engaged, and clearly with those kinds of numbers, that's a clear indication that that was a home run.
Well, all of our websites, all of our companies have all these tools, and it's hard to get our agents to use 2 of them. And but by organizing it in this way, and my brokers led the charge, Todd Tucker, Deanne Golden, Tony Floyd, my marketing guy, they all got engaged, and they led the other broker team. And I couldn't have been more proud of the team.
Dan, as another follow-up, what percentage would you suggest of your, would you estimate, of your agents participated in the year-end programs? And what percentage do you think will step in and get re-engaged in the first quarter as you reemerge with the next phase of your Stay Engaged programs?
Well, we had 800 come to Tom Ferry, 800 out of, you know, almost 1,200. My guess is that we had probably 700 of our agents actually do all 5 of the activities, and probably close to 1,000, you know, to 1,100 actually did some of them. So the percentages were high. What everyone found, that most people were concerned that the AVM was going to be a negative. And really the AVM, no matter what it says, I mean, even with these estimates, they aren't particularly accurate, but they create a conversation. And we're in the relational business with consumers, and so our agents had the opportunity to do what they do best, talk about real estate and position themselves to be the expert in the local market.
Well, that is.
I think that is a credit to you and the organization. We're going to move on to our next panelist, and we'll come back with some follow-up later on in the program.
I'm sure, John, everybody's going to want to know how he managed to foster such strong engagement. That is just a terrific utilization of channels of communication. I applaud you on that. But let's go on to Jeff Sposito. Now, he is the president and founder of J. Rockcliffe Realtors, and they are in Danville, California. Now, Dan, Jeff has done a great job over the 3-decade span of his career. He's won numerous awards, including Realtor of the Year and Outstanding Leadership Award. But here's one. Most recently, he was awarded the prestigious Director for Life by the California Association of Realtors. He's currently a lifetime director for the California Association of Realtors as well, and a director at NAR. And so this was the one important thing, Jeff, I thought was so interesting, that in 2002, you were invited to speak in front of the federal chairman, Alan Greenspan, and the Federal Reserve Board about issues within our industry. So that's a real tribute to you. Thanks so much for joining us today.
It's my pleasure, and good afternoon. Follow up on our topic of the day is, and I'll give a little history, finishing strong. Being a practitioner and doing this for the last 36 years, I've always had, and my companies may be a little unique to others, but we always had a dismal first quarter. Either January and February, we would lose money, maybe break even in March, spend the next 4 or 5 months making hay, doing well, and hopefully made enough money to cover us through November, December, and end up the year in black. And that seemed to be going on continuously for the 30 years. About 6 years ago, we started talking about, with my management team, we need to change this focus. We can't, put ourselves in a hole the first quarter of every year and then spend the next couple of months getting out of it. We need to change this. So the focus was, let's start talking more to our agents about their involvement in the fourth quarter of the year. And that's easier said than done, as was previously mentioned. So we started small and just putting a lot of emphasis on October. You need to start your year. You need to start your business planning in October. Managers did it at sales meetings, and we noticed modest, improvements, but nothing really that would make anybody take notice, and it sure didn't change our numbers that much. And the more we thought about it, the more we said, we need to look at this in a whole different manner. We need to focus on October 1st is really the New Year's for the real estate agents and real estate community. So we came out with a campaign, New Year's in October. And it started off small, and it was mainly me putting out an email to that effect, putting out a business plans that the agents could work with their managers, and put a little focus there. And we had a little bit of movement, but not really what we wanted to see. So every year in late February, we do a kickoff and we do an awards banquet that's attended obviously by all our agents. We do it it's a nice venue. It's a sit-down lunch. And we said we need to do something similar to this but not take away from our awards kickoff. So we decided about 4 years ago to have our New Year's in October be a function that we'd bring everybody together in the company. We take a hotel, the Marriott Hotel, we take the ballroom, we bring everybody in, all 500 agents. We've always had guest speakers, whether it be from Tom Ferry, motivational speakers. We've had a speaker come in who is handicapped with one arm and climbed Mount Everest. And so we've had a whole gamut of different speakers come in. So we would bring speakers in. We started to bring speakers in. We decorated the room up to look like, and you can see on the screen there, 2015, we put balloons all over the room. We put confetti on the tables. We always had a gift for our agent at their spot at the table. We had a sit-down breakfast, and we bring in a guest speaker, whether it be Tom Ferry or some motivational speaker. And we really started to play up New Year's in October. We would also have an online business plan. We'd spend part of the meeting talking about their business plan. And we focused our managers that after we did the breakfast meeting for the next couple of weeks in October, they were to sit down with their agents and go over their business plan. Our business plans are 15-month business plans, not 12 months. The typical agent seemed like they would always do their business plan between Christmas and New Year's. And any benefit from that would not start showing up for them until spring. So we were both in the same boat. So we had to change the mindset of the agent. So
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
I just have a question for you. Well, so starting it in October obviously helps you jumpstart that first quarter being flat. But how did you encourage those agents to actually complete the plan?
Well, we brought them in, and we've continued to talk to them about how the importance of the first quarter of the year is for all of them. And we really emphasized in with, like having Tom Ferry come in and talk about, he'll do a whole presentation on business planning. And so the agents really start to take hold of the idea that my business does start on October 1st. What I do the last 2 or 3 months of the year is going to determine my first quarter of the following year. So, we continue to repeat that and talk about that, and the agents get it. They really do get that. And this year, we put a lot of emphasis on training throughout the year, and with that, we've changed our training program and focused a lot of it on coaching, and that's always been a big, I should say, a big follower of our company. Our company is big with coaching. So what we did this year, and we've done it in the past, we had a panel up there. We didn't bring in a guest speaker. We had a panel of agents, and I love having panel of agents. Every time I've attended a seminar, whether it be Tom Ferry, Mike Ferry, Buffini, it seems like the agents always perk up when there is a panel of agents up there, and they like hearing what their peers have to say. So we had a panel of agents this year. Normally, when I would have a panel, I'd have my top producers up there. I'd have agents that are doing $2, $3, $4 million a year in commissions, and they're great, and they share some great ideas, but you could see half the room will glaze over, and, I know what they're thinking. I can't do that. I don't have those marketing dollars. I don't have that team. So this year we did it a little different. We had a panel. One of the members was on the panel was an agent who'd been in the business a year and a half. Has already done $350,000 in income. Another panel member was a husband and wife team, which I wanted on there because we're getting a lot of husbands who are retiring from their jobs and now working with their spouses. So we wanted somebody to talk about husband and wife working together. We had an agent from another company that we hired about 2 years ago who doubled her business. So we had her on the panel. And we had another great core agent, and I did have one top producer on there. I had a top producer who's been with us for about 20 years and who has made $1 million plus a year every year for 20 years, and how she stays engaged every year to do those kind of numbers. And what we started with was, just how long have you been in the business? And the second question I asked them, which I didn't have the answer to, was, are you coached? And every one of them has a coach. And I thought that was pretty exciting on my part because, like I said, we talk a lot about coaching. Every year as a company, Tom Ferry does his major event down in Anaheim in August, and I pay for any of my agents to go down to that. I don't cover their, I pay for their registration. I don't pay for their travel costs or their hotel, but I do pay for their registration. And we also have a dinner one night for all the agents. And we usually have 75 to 100 of our agents attend this event.
That's a pretty strong commitment, and it clearly that accountability is showing up in your productivity. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely, and it works twofold. There's a couple of benefits here. We put on a nice dinner for them one night, and we have everybody come, and we also tell them to invite any agents that they know from our marketplace, from other companies, to come to dinner with us. So I know darn well their managers aren't there, their broker's not there, and they're not taking them out to dinner. So it's sort of like a little quasi-recruiting effort also. It works out real well for us.
Well,
but the biggest benefit, though, is I know for a fact that after that event, at least 75% of my agents will sign up for coaching. And that is, like I said,
that's
pays
a big difference.
Dividends for us because, like I said, I'm a strong believer in the coaching aspect of the business.
Well, we've got that. John, I'd like to turn it over to you for some closing comments. I'd kind of like to know how he keeps them connected through that year.
Yeah, Jeff, there's a couple of quick notes that I think are very interesting. First of all, you are another big believer in business planning, accountability, and coaching, and you carry yours out 15 to 18 months as far as trying to get your agents to create a business plan. Okay? When did you first institute that, and give me an idea of the percentage of your agents that follow through with that 15 to 18-month plan?
We started that about 4 years ago when we really started putting the emphasis on our New Year's in October, and when we really started, making it a big event, and we followed up with it and it continues to evolve. And every year we come up in this event, and what we do gets stronger and stronger. And with that, with the agents that are being coached, we know darn well that they're going to do the business plans, and most of the coaching business plans, and I know Tom Ferry's is a 15, and I'm not an advocate. I don't want to sit here and continue to talk about Tom Ferry, but I know his business plan is a 15-month business plan. And so we've always really focused that with our agents. We also have accountability groups in our offices amongst the agents who are being coached, and then separate accountability groups who are agents who are not being coached. And we're bringing those agents together, and they're talking about, business plans and how important that business plan is. We really continue to focus with the agents that they are a business within a business, and they need that business plan. And we really, John, it's probably, I would say, of the agents who are coached, 80% of them are doing the 15-month business plan. Of the agents who are not being coached, probably about 40 to 50% are doing the 15-month business plans.
Interesting. I think it's a common theme that the more we talk to brokers and the more brokers respond back to us, the number of agents that are seeking mentoring, coaching from outside sources or internal sources, depending upon the respective firm, is growing, and the level of accountability to themselves, to their, whether it's a team or their individuals, it's on the rise. The level of professionalism is on the rise. I'd like to point out one other note that I think is very interesting and fascinating, because I see this quite a bit across the country, that with brokerage firms that are having meetings, they are turning more towards, as you have, not the super high producers being on panels, but literally the productive, professional, mid-level agents that are there that are trying to become super agents, and talking about the problems that they face, how they're tackling it, how they're utilizing their own individual resources, and how they're building their respective businesses. So I applaud you for that, and you're not alone in going in that shift.
The survey we conducted after, we always do a survey after our meetings, and I've had more positive feedback on the panel we've had this year than panels we've had in the past of the super producers. So, we're going to continue to go this route.
I think it's very smart, Jeff, because that is the sweet spot. That is where the firm really makes its bread and butter, and also the vast majority of your agents are right there, and they're great professionals. They're looking to improve themselves as well, and those are the contemporaries that they have to compare themselves with and see how they're utilizing their own time, their resources, in making their businesses more productive and profitable. At this point, let's, Terry, let's move to our next presenter. And
right.
John, back.
Can I make one other quick comment, though?
Sure, certainly.
Because we're talking about the agents being engaged in the fourth quarter. I'm a strong believer in contest, and my offices, majority of my offices have a contest through the fourth quarter of the year. It's a fourth quarter contest. And it keeps the agents involved. In the one that's been most productive, we call it Monday Madness. It's my Danville office, my Blackhawk office, which are my two larger offices of about 150 agents each. What they have is Monday Madness, where they get everybody together at 4 o'clock on Monday afternoon. They bring in a speaker. Somebody will do a presentation, whether it be a listing presentation, et cetera. Then they have their wine and pizza. Then they'll cold call. And the office is divided into 3 teams, and they get, obviously, the points for leads, and et cetera, et cetera. And so it keeps the agents engaged throughout the fourth quarter. And that's another thing we like to see. And I know a lot of, companies, don't focus on the fourth quarter that way, but like I said, we want to put our emphasis on the fourth quarter. The second and third quarters will take care of themselves. It's that fourth quarter and the first quarter that is so critical.
Well, hey, Jeff, I love that idea, Monday Madness. Matter of fact, I'm making a note to have one of our editors call you and talk to you about what is Monday Madness, and do a brief article on what it is, and what type of results are coming out of that. So that's great.
Well, that's great information, and I really applaud you on paying attention to that middle producer, because that's so much more believable. But I am anxious to get Paul Wells, who's our broker owner from RE/MAX of Barrington, Illinois. And I actually remember when Paul opened the office in 1987 because I lived right around the corner from there. He now has 2 RE/MAX offices in the Chicago area, 50 agents, closing over 1,000 transactions in 2013. Now, Paul is the recipient of many awards, including the RE/MAX Distinguished Service Award and the Hall of Fame. And he is also on the board of managers for MRED, one of the largest MLSs in the world. Paul, tell us about what you're doing. What are these agents looking for today from their brokers and their managers?
That's a good question. I think what they're looking for us to do is lead. And it's kind of changed in the last couple of years because I think we've kind of followed for a while, and now they're looking for us because the market's changed so much. They're looking for us to set the pace. And one of the ways we're leading is a simple way, and that's by literally walking around and listening to the ground and finding out what they need. We're trying to keep in contact with them as many ways as we can, be it email, text, phone calls, personal contacts, or special events. But we're finding that if we do that, it's making our impact far stronger. We're also finding that they will not listen to what we say, but they'll do what we do. So if I'm telling them to do something and I'm not doing it and my team isn't doing it, they won't do it. So without leading by example, they're getting lost in the path. So we're finding that if we grab them by the hand and do the projects along with them or do the coaching and the learning along with them, the buy-in's far greater. And we're also finding that if we can help the team leaders look great to their team members, the teams are exploding. And that's been a real plus for us.
So clearly you are hands-on, as Ken Blanchard has said, by walking around making sure that you're in contact. How do you actually, what channels are you using to communicate with your agents?
Well, today was a prime example. We're also big fans of coaching, and we utilize everybody. Today was our partial Tom Ferry Day as well as David Knox Day, and what we do is utilize their videos as much as possible, but we make our managers as well as myself look like the innovators and initiators of the process. So we'll play a DVD of Tom or of Dave or Brian Buffini or Rick DeLuca as a half-hour lead-in, and then we'll discuss that DVD and all come with ideas away from that to be able to apply to each other's business. But because all I'm really doing is pressing a play button, I really don't have that much of a setup, but I appear to be the leader because these leaders or these coaches are helping me out and stepping me in the right direction.
So are there specific tools that you actually provide for your agents or that you recommend that they use?
Well, we certainly have access to all those coaches, but we're also pretty technology heavy in the way we play our game. For example, we were one of the first people to pick up the Matterport 3D camera. We're a mixed market here in that we have a medium end, but we have an ultra high end out here. So providing some of the latest tools is important. And the 3D camera has allowed us to be way on the cutting edge of our market in terms of what our agents can offer their sellers. We also are believers in drone videos. We think that those are going to be a big drive for a long time. Again, we're just trying to provide the latest in technology to all of our agents on a regular basis. But we're taking it to another level in that what we really want to do is create a staff that the agents don't have to learn how to do this. They just have to learn how to ask for it.
Because now that's an important differentiation.
They have to learn how to do all this. But if they can come to me and say, I really want to do some 3D videos, can you handle it? Our staff learns how to do it and takes care of it. And what that does, to be frank, is it puts us in a position where we've created golden handcuffs.
Yeah, that golden handcuffs is a really good part because we know that some people are going to be real innovative using technology. In the work that we've done with brokerages, we find that when you have that differentiation model like a 3D camera, we know that pictures engage the seller. So that's a great way that you are showing your agents how to work productively but still making them create real differentiation in the marketplace. But I also know that you employ some systems. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, we're big time into several different things. First off, we get our input from agents on a regular basis to find out what they think is hot. And frankly, a lot of that is just from my manager by walking around, sitting down with an agent for 3 minutes and we ask 3 simple questions. What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? And how can we help your business grow? And those 3 questions can really set the pace of what the next year is going to be. But it lets them know that we're listening and we're doing. That is where our new ideas forum comes from, is the agents will tell us what they really see in the marketplace and what they really need. And then from that, we're able to develop systems to fill those needs. And it's been extraordinarily strong for retention, but it's been extraordinarily strong to keep our competition at bay, because what we've really become is a moving target. They don't know what we're going to do next.
Isn't that great to be a leader, especially in that environment, because it is a traditional environment? Well, one of the things that I know, having listed and sold a lot of properties, that after the listing and after the closing, the systems to retain and stay connected are important. Are you recommending anything specific to your agents?
I think one of the stronger things that we're starting to see people use more and more, and what's old becomes new again, is surveys. I think surveys are an important way to keep in touch with the real world on what's going on with your clients, both buyers and sellers, but also on the agents. I think surveying the agents and asking them how the transaction went, and again, what we could have done better as a team, makes them feel like we are an important part of their business. And it just helps us stay in touch.
That's excellent, because as we study the evolution of engagement, the engagement, of course, having retained that customer, that client after, and improving the experience is what we're at. Now, before I hand it over to John, last question is, how is your business actually different today than it was, say, even 5 years ago?
Well, I use a Brian Buffini line occasionally, and this one plays in perfectly here. It's nice to have food with my meals again. Needless to say, 5 years ago it was a bit dry, and we were one of the first people to grasp the short sale concept, and CDPE specifically. But when I introduced it to my office, they thought I had lost our mind, and they literally said, "Paul, we really don't think that's going to happen here." Well, needless to say, it happened everywhere, and it really added a little new level of what we were doing. But that's when they started to realize that we were at the cutting edge of what's going on everywhere. We're keeping our ears to the ground across the industry to make sure we know where things are heading. We've part of the concept modification we go through too, as well, has been bringing in consultants to help us out. We brought a guy by the name of Dwight Skinner in, who helped us tremendously by interviewing our staff and finding out not only what they're good at, but what they like to do. And sometimes those were 2 different things. The reason that was important is because if we can get our staff doing what they like to do, their value to the agents grows so much that it becomes a recruiting and retention tool all in itself, but it allows us to change for next year and add so many more dynamics that weren't there the year before.
So you're really creating some great value. John, why don't you give us some commentary on that?
Paul, first of all, I totally admire what you're doing, okay? And I know from 3 and 4 years ago, your firm is diametrically different than probably everyone's firm that's on this call today. It's diametrically different than it was then. Closing out this year and looking towards next year, one of the points I think is extremely important, and I'm glad you brought it up, is the fact that you, as the other 3 panelists on this call, you are truly a thought leader, and your agents view you as such. They also, from what I'm gathering and what you've done with your staff, is you've improved the overall effectiveness, efficiency, and importance of your staff, and I applaud you for bringing in that consultant to help you do that. So I look at what you've done. Tell us what, moving into 2015, what one important piece of that you brought to your business in 2014 you're going to expand on in 2015?
That's a great question, and it really boils down to something that's rudimentary to almost all businesses. And the most important thing I'm going to do, and that I'm pretty much known for, is be willing to make mistakes. I think that putting too much on the table can be a good thing sometimes because it allows you to grow. A lot of companies stagnate because they're afraid to make a mistake. I find that I only learn when I do something wrong. So literally I'm at a point where I'm finding that the more I do wrong, the better I get, as long as I don't do it twice. So
that's a very good statement.
I'm trying to enable our people the ability to make mistakes so that we can grow, and it's really having an impact on where we're going right now. We've got a group of excited people here like we have never had here in 30 years, and it's fun to watch them having the ability to make mistakes, and I back them up each time and take the responsibility for what goes wrong, but I give them the credit, absolute credit, for what goes right.
Paul, the proof is in the pudding. You're growing your business, growing your market share, and the allegiance that you have with your agents is just absolutely tremendous, and I applaud you for that. Moving into the future, something that I think has been a common theme here with our panelists thus far has been the accountability, coaching, bringing in those from the outside, no matter who it might be, or if you have the wherewithal within your own firm to provide that mentoring and coaching yourself. With that, let's move on to our next panelist.
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. I just want to say congratulations on what we call at U.S. Learning, creating strong differentiation. Definitely a thought leader versus a thought repeater. Really important in engaging the real estate community today. And of course, I think we've saved something very special for the end. We've got Sandra Saunders. She is the founder and broker owner of RE/MAX Estate Properties in Palos Verdes, California. And it is the largest and most productive company in sales and service in the South Bay, with 15 residential real estate offices all the way from San Pedro to Beverly Hills, and 2 commercial real estate offices. Now, of course, she would be a member of the RE/MAX International Hall of Fame, and she's been a top-producing realtor for 25 years. But I like this one. She is the first woman ever to win the Broker Owner of the Year award as the RE/MAX of California and Hawaii, as well as RE/MAX LLC. That is amazing, and she was also awarded RISMedia's National Home Ownership Award in 2011. So, Sandra, welcome to our call.
Well, thank you so much, and it was really interesting to hear the other panelists and how accomplished they really are. I think we have a different approach in a way. I'm sure they have the same approach, but I have a family that helps in the business. I have a son that is in operation. He was a top salesman, and now he helps run the company, or maybe he thinks runs the company. And also I have a son that's an IT wizard. Everybody needs one of those guys, and he's in charge of all our facilities, and we have a lot of them. And then I have a daughter that's extremely creative and loves to give parties and have fun. So we have over-the-top, very expensive parties. But what we do is, and I think we've recruited a lot of people recently, and even though we have extreme training every day, and I will go into that in a minute, but we also really treat all our agents with such respect and care that I think they feel like they're part of our family. And sometimes I will ask, or I don't even have to ask, some of the new people we've recruited will come up to me and said, "You have so many tools and benefits, we just can't believe it. But what is most impressive is your caring and that you really respect us." So I think that's our theme and our culture. But we really believe in training. We have advanced training for our seasoned people. We have an in-house attorney who gives lectures all the time. Not only does she answer questions, but she used to be a teacher, and she's a very interesting lecturer, and she really keeps everybody up on all the new laws and forms and procedures continuously. And even though we really don't ask our agents to go to our training centers and hear all the wonderful things we have to offer, they go because it's interesting and they like to go and they realize it's to their benefit. We have accountability and networking and, you know, in these meetings, and they realize we're doing everything we possibly can to make a productive, wonderful atmosphere for them.
Well, you kind of glossed over, we've recruited some agents. You recruited 125 agents in 2013 and 100 so far this year. What are you doing to accomplish this?
Well, you know, I think our agents actually go out and say, you know, this is a really good place to work. Not only do they have the RE/MAX LLC benefits, which, you know, sometimes that's so complicated that agents don't take advantage of it, but we have one-on-one training for our agents. Even though we have a lot of agents, we have one-on-one training to take advantage of RE/MAX LLC, and then we personally are big enough to be able to attract a lot of national motivators, which have been talked about, that will come to talk to our people just one-on-one, just our people a lot. And but I think more than that, all the agents get out and tell other agents it's not all the tools and the benefits they have, but they treat you right, they're very fair, and my sons and I are out in the offices every single day of the week, so they see us and realize we're very approachable.
Well, you also talked about probably your most pivotal offering is that you actually care about your agents. But would you share with us what you consider the 3 of the most important benefits or tools that you offer those agents that makes you so attractive?
Well, I think one thing is our in-house attorney. You know, that's certainly a benefit because she's free to her agents, and she constantly will answer emails or telephone calls, and she lectures all the time. I think the fact that we are very proficient in IT, and we take advantage of all the social medias and so forth, and we have a green room for videos, and we really constantly have classes on advanced technical abilities for agents to perform.
Well, it sounds to me like you've really created an environment where you're actually consistently serving these people. Do you have a specific mission statement that underlies that, how you're going to market?
Well, just exactly that we make a very environmentally pleasant area with lots of training, and we care about our people, and we encourage them to always be truthful and kind. And, you know, that's the only thing that we encourage our people. I mean, we really don't insist that our people go to sales meetings, networking, or accountability or anything. They do go, but we don't insist that they go, but we do insist that they continuously be kind and truthful.
That's a great way to go to market. You know, you've had this RE/MAX franchise for over 30 years. There must be some kind of amazing strategy you've got for growing the company. I mean, how many other real estate companies did you buy or merge to get to where you are today?
A lot, about 10 or more. So we really were lucky. It seems like we've had a lot of really wonderful opportunities, and we're risk takers. So in fact, the beginning of 2015, we're opening 3 very elaborately tenant improvement type facilities for our agents. So all our offices are pretty wow factors, and we believe that's really good for our agents. They feel very comfortable in the facilities, and their clients are impressed.
Yeah, that would definitely be a good factor on that. Now, have you lost any agents?
We have lost a few, but I was very pleased. We had a strategy meeting the other day with our management group, and we went over who we'd lost, because you do lose quite a few people, particularly the Palos Verdes Peninsula has a lot of older agents in it, but we've not lost anybody to another company. The attrition has just been from relocating or sickness or just deciding to retire.
Well, do you have a process in place for taking over what we call those orphan files? Because we know that a lot of agents in our age group are retiring or, you know, going on to other things. So do you have any way of staying in contact with the people they've already sold?
No, we don't do that. You know, I know some brokers do that. We don't do that. But what we encourage our older agents to do is to get a junior agent before they decide to retire and work with them, let them meet their clients and understand how they operate and so forth. That seems to work very well, and then they get referrals in their retirement years, so it works pretty well. That's what we encourage them to do rather than to take their clients.
Oh, no, I don't want you to take their clients, but I think it's good that somebody services them because then they're not just sitting out there abandoned. John, I'd like to turn it over to you to get some more commentary from Sandra.
Absolutely. Thank you, Terry. Sandra is an icon. If you didn't realize what an incredible businesswoman she is, and what an incredible family, both actual family members and others that work within her executive team, she has compiled. That is success. Success just doesn't happen. She's created a great organization that has been able to merge, acquire more than 10 different organizations into her system. And when she was awarded the National Home Ownership Award from us in 2011, she is a person that could win that virtually every year if that was allowable. But with that, Sandra, I think it's important to note, if you just comment on the following, it seems to me that each year you and your team keep focusing on the greatest goals. It's as if you're constantly above the fray, dealing with your agents on where they should keep their eyes and keeping them motivated so they can move forward and establish their own professional goals. How do you keep doing that? How do you stay on top of all your agents and show them how to focus on the greater goals?
You know, John, I don't think that we forget our purpose. Our purpose is really to help our agents. You know, it is our aspiration to go more into West LA and to become very prominent. We have the market share in the South Bay and Marina del Rey, Venice, but we haven't really accomplished the Beverly Hills. And so a year or so ago, we hired an independent consultant. And he changed our signs, changed our way of thinking, changed our website, and we have a more luxury look. And that is our company, my family's aim is to become very successful in the Beverly Hills, Hollywood area. But we never lose our focus on the purpose is to keep our agents that we have happy, trained, productive, and we will close we're at $3.7 billion right now, and we certainly think we're going to close $4 billion before the end of the year. So our agents are very productive.
Sandra, if I could, last question for you is, what have you done, what one particular action item have you and your company done this year differently that you're going to carry over into 2015 and potentially put more resources into?
You know, we've bought some of our own facilities, our buildings, and we've really put a lot of wow factors into our offices. I think that's what we've done mostly this year. And, of course, like I keep repeating, we never let up on the benefits to our agents and the training and the sales meetings and the networking, and we are there looking them in their eyes and trying to help them at all times.
That's great. Let me turn this back to Terry.
Well, thank you, John, and thank you so much, Sandra. That is some great information. We do have a opportunity now to answer a couple of questions. One question that came in was for Dan on that surge activity that you deploy, that messaging. Are you using a particular system or software to do that?
Yes, we use, in our company, we have the Reliance Internet Web Platform. I think a lot of the RE/MAX companies use it, so it's the agents their own website. We use a platform to send announcements out called Announce My Move. That's the vendor is Rob and Jeanette Ojidishu, I think is how you say it. We also used the Berkshire Hathaway e-cards, used to be PRIA, but they're e-cards that the franchise has in their resource center. So each of those draw on databases that can be, levered and shared. On the Facebook, not so much. On the texting, that was an individual phone thing. And the selfie was actually a Tom Ferry idea. It was a great idea. I mean, you shoot a quick 30-second selfie and send it to somebody, 9 out of 10 times they're going to look at it and respond to you. So those were the various platforms that we use.
That's some great advice right there. Sandra, another question for you with your green room. What kind of videos are you doing? Informational videos or overview videos that you're using that green room for your agents?
You know, we do. We have a teleprompter, and because sometimes people, if they want to put out a message really fast, it's kind of hard not to have a teleprompter. So we do, and we have a professional that videos, and we do it maybe more than once, and they can put it on their website. They can send it by email. They can. It's very effective. In fact, it's surprising that not everybody uses it, but that'll be something for 2015 to really stress that everybody should have one.
Yeah, video is the killer app for the real estate. It creates that transparency, and what we've been able to see is that when the consumer, whether it's a buyer and you're looking at a proposed property, when you can show them that you're actually walking through a property for them, that's a real strong engagement kind of thing, and that's a pretty good idea. I've got one other question, John, unless you have one.
No, go right ahead, Terry.
On that, this question I want to direct to I believe it's Paul, with regards to your New Ideas Forum. So one of the keys that we understand for engagement is to engage with those agents, and they want to know that you're listening. Why don't you tell us what happens, what's the protocol after that when they've got an idea that comes up? How do you evaluate it and then implement?
It's funny you ask that question right now, because we're in the middle of what I've been doing lately is sitting down. I'm a big reader, and I must give away way over 1,000 books a year. I just feel that if nothing else, we need to all read more, because it'll tune us into what's going on. But I just finished a book called the 7 Levels of Communication, and in that book specifically, it's focusing on action steps. Every time you finish a conversation or a learning class, you can't walk away from the table unless you've got 2 or 3 things to do that are specific and measurable. We're finding that when we do that, we get so much more done so quickly, and it's becoming an addictive behavior for everyone involved.
Well, that's great advice, and we're all big readers over here. Well, I think these are all great questions. I know John has a couple of follow-up comments before we go, and I also know that, that Bob is going to want to join us for just a second.
Absolutely. Terry, I'll jump in, and I will just make one comment. First of all 4 of our panelists are incredibly successful business people, because they have different strategies, they have different formulas and different methodologies, but they're all proven leaders, and they're thought leaders within not only their respective marketplaces, but obviously inside their own firm. If there's one message that resonates so well with all 4 panelists, is all of them seek outside assistance as far as consultants, information, going to different respective shows. Many of them come to our CEO leadership in New York City and other power broker panels that we have to share information amongst other thought leaders. And then they take back and apply what they find within their own organizations. That's fantastic. A critical component of our industry moving forward is something that Bob Brown's going to talk about in a minute, and that is literally financing. Building a solid relationship with a great lender, in my estimation, in 2015 is critical to the success of thousands of brokers around this country. So with that, I thank all 4 panelists for being part of this, and I'll turn it back to you, Terry, and to Bob.
Oh, thank you so much. And Bob, we want to hear how important. I know that your lender is one of the most important people on your team, so let's talk to you about what you can recommend for 2015.
All right, thanks so much, and thanks for the kind words, John. We heard some great ideas today about how to build business plans, coach and motivate people, and keep momentum going. And it's responsibilities that's on all our shoulders and all the disciplines of work that we do. A couple that I gravitated to, first, thank you to Dan, Jeff, Paul, and Sandra. Those all great input for sure. I gravitated towards the New Year's in October and the 15-month plan. I love that, because I'm always looking for ways to keep people motivated through the end of the year, because the better you do in November and December, the greater start you get off to begin the new year. And then the other one came from Sandra, and it's on just the relationship deepening and the high touch, not with clients, which we all know about, but with your own people on a day-to-day basis. And I know Sandra well enough to know that it's not because the book says to do it, it's just because who she is. And I think I could probably say that Sandra's probably never met a stranger. And it comes through loud and clear when you work with her. The bank itself works with a lot of great industry leaders who build their businesses with similar tactics. But in addition, they look at how they can leverage partners and others in the industry to help grow their business further, and that's how we can help all of you. Some of the things that we can offer are strategic alliances, coaching relationships with Tom Ferry, and some of the seminars that he does that we can support. And I heard almost every one of you on the speakers panel mention Tom at one point or another. We can arm you with information on the ongoing regulatory reform in the mortgage finance world and how it will affect you and your clients. And it's really just knowing and understanding more than anything. Rewards the bank can offer to your clients who are Bank of America customers that are good for all of us. It certainly makes you look like heroes when you could ask them, are you a Bank of America client, and tell them the great things that they get by virtue of continuing to work, discounts, etc. These are things that can help you expand your business and take you to the next level. And we really hope that you'll consider leveraging one or more of these as you build your plans for the coming year. Certainly, we're happy to talk to you more. You can drop me an email. It's robert.a.brown@bankofamerica.com. John can help you get in touch with me any way you like. But mostly, I want to thank you all. Thank you all that we've done business with over the course of the past year, and wish you all a happy holiday and a happy, healthy new year.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. And listen, we got great, powerful insights today. I want to remind you all to visit RISMedia's website for follow-up coverage on this webinar and access to the recording. There was an abundance of great information. Special thanks to our esteemed panel, and thanks for all of you for joining us today. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Terry. Great job. And panelists and Bob, tremendous. Continued success, and let's finish this year strong. Thank you for participating.